So, Tony, thank you very much for coming to Isco Bride Collective and Move Forward Movement Business Innovative Podcast. I want to say thank you very much for coming. My name is Peter Binosa, also known as Piro from Move Forward Movement. Thank you, Tony, for coming to our
No, thank you.
podcast.
Thank you for inviting me. Yeah.
You're welcome. So today we're just going to kind of go through a few things about your organization, what you do, and how you
Yeah.
started. So tell me, Tony, tell me about your organization, what you do, and who do you serve, and what inspired you to start your organization?
Yeah. Thanks, Peter. My company's name is Changing Your Mind Limited. I'm a business mindset coach. So simply, I help startups who've got an idea that they want to have a business, or they've got a side hustle, and they've got to the stage where they don't want to be in their employment anymore. So they want to set up self-employed, but
Okay.
they just don't know how to do it. So they need somebody to give them guidance. So I mentor them how to get it off the ground. So basically turn the idea into a business reality. So bringing their dreams forward, making sure I can help them how it happens, help them to understand if the business is actually viable or not. So a lot of people have great ideas, but it's not really going to bring the income that they're looking for. So I help to validate that. What it means is just checking out the market and make sure there is a need for what they're doing. Once we've done that, then we look at how to get the business off the ground then. So all the legalities, making sure that they've got everything they need, accountancy things set up, make sure we HMRC, that they know that, they understand tax things, all that right up to the fact of they're going to launch the business. So I help them then to do like a little soft launch, a pre-launch, just to see what the market's like, and then we get a time we launch the business. Once they've done that, I'm there in the corner for the rest of the year. So whatever issues they have or obstacles they face, they've always got me there to help them to overcome that.
That's excellent. So basically, if I could say, summarize what you've just said, you help them to start up, not just only them helping them start up, you're mentoring them through the process of
Yes.
their business. I really like the father. That is what you do. What is it that kind of intrigued you to make you start, this sort of a thing?
It's a long story. Try and keep it short then.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
So I worked for 18 years for First Direct Bank. And during that time, I was also a mental health first aider. And I had an illness myself that I had a lot of issues to deal with.
Yeah.
And it was great helping them. But what I realised is that the bank was brilliant support, but they also had Bupa. The problem with Bupa was that if someone had an issue, whatever counsellor was available that day, they had to go to. That doesn't necessarily mean it was the right person for the person that was really needing help. So redundancies came up when I took it 4 years ago, and I retrained to be a hypnotherapist and then CB trained, ACT it's called, so that I could help people. What I'd realised after a couple of years of doing it, majority of people who were coming to me were not what I thought people in work. It was actually people either setting a business up or trying to set it up. And they were coming to me and saying they're anxiety or stressed, and it was because they just didn't know how to move forward. So I realised that then that's where really, if I'm helping them with the therapy side, I could help with the business side. So I started transitioning the business then to find what people wanted. So I spent the last year doing that and realised that they don't want short-term courses. They don't want one-off sessions or 46 session things. What they wanted was somebody in their corner, so that when they get stuck, because it's very lonely being a new business owner.
Absolutely.
People don't realise that, even though you've got family and friends around about you, they don't quite understand the pressures they're under. So having somebody like me that has been there and done that, it makes it easier for them. So that's when I realised that's what I really want to do, is to help people that have got that, the passion and the spark, before they start to lose that when they start getting stressed out in business.
Absolutely, that's a very good story. Thank you so much for that. Because there are a lot of people out there that go to the job that they hate. They just want to work for themselves, and I believe that is where your organization steps in.
Yeah, and it's not just that. I think one important thing to go is also for children. As younger people are at school and they're taught how to pass exams,
Yes.
they're not taught life skills.
Yeah.
So when they get sort of maybe the last year at secondary school, their choice really is to go to college, uni, or try and find a job.
Yes.
But nobody ever talks about them. What if they've got an idea of their own and they would love to start a business of their own?
Yes.
How many entrepreneurs do we miss in this country because we don't allow people to explore that?
Yeah.
So that's the idea that I can come in and help with. Well, just even not as a paid thing, but just to help me see if it's something that's viable, they could do it as an option.
Absolutely.
And then if they want to do that, then they can come work with me from there.
That's great. I'm glad that you talked about the younger ones there, because this young generation, their mind is really, really broad, and they think a lot of things really fast. touching about what you say. Some people can have some of the kids today can have an idea that could be the next big thing that could change, but that opportunity is never there. It's not there for people for it to be cultivated. That is where you come in. Thank you so much for that. So I'm going to ask what was your biggest turning point in your business journey, and how did it shape your growth?
And that was what I mentioned earlier, was when I was sitting with someone who was a new business owner, currently with stress. They've took over a business. They had, I think, 20 employees, and they were struggling with the fact that they had great ideas, but the employees didn't seem to go the same way. So one of the things that the problem was is how to talk to them. And it sounded silly, but they didn't know how to speak to these people because they'd always worked with other people who've got their own ideas. This person was giving me new, fresh ideas, but it was a different type of environment they've been into. It was a different type of business from they used to be in.
Yes.
So I realised with that a lot of the time the stress was not caused by the business, it's caused by the people, the pressure they put on themselves. And I call this the business umbilical cord, because people treat a new business like a baby, and they think they've got to keep a hold of it all the time. And every time they try and do something away from it, it's like the umbilical cord pulls them back. But until they learn to cut that, they step back, they can't actually see that sometimes the people they've got there are their best resource. They're the ones that can do it. They think they have to do it on their own. When I realised that, that's when the mentoring side really came into it. To realise that it's not a short-term measure. Some people will take time to allow them to step back like that and let someone else take the business. And what I say to them is, if you don't do that, how many staff leave? There's a saying that I didn't like when it came out. It was called the Great Resignation. A lot of recruitment companies were calling it. But resignation to me means people give up. But they weren't giving up. They're leaving because they're not treated the right way. They're leaving now because they want something better. Something that looks after them, their well-being, everything. When he realised that, that's when his business started to improve. So that was my turning point, is realising it's the people that I had to help. I say that a business coach is part of what I do, but that's been book smart. The other side I do is the mindset side, it's been people smart. Combine the two of them and it's very powerful.
That's great. Mentoring and coaching, and with what you've just put together there just now, is for me, I think, is one of the ways that people can really accelerate and grow their business, by cultivating good relationship with people, and obviously taking on board what their mentorship is providing for them. Excellent. Now, how have you built relationship with customers in your community, showcasing community connections, loyalty, and customer service? Obviously, we are here today, to talk about all of that.
Yeah, I think this is something I want to do more of. I've been speaking to EQ Collective about. We tried something. It was just over a year and a half ago, was trying to get all the therapists in here together, and we had an open day, because people don't know they've got these resources here, but not everybody took us up on it, and that was the problem. We've only had certain ones that did it, and I think the biggest thing for me is trying to get the people to understand here the resource you have in this building, not just the people in it, but EK Collective itself. This is so an underutilised resource for us here. There's so many people that come to me because they're struggling alone, trying to run their business. And I'm saying, why are you doing that when you've got somewhere here you can co-work? And it's amazing how much you do when you get out your own house and to do it. And I think that's what I run. I'm ambassador for a network here, and I asked could we hold it in EK Collective. So we've set up a Lanarkshire one, and it's for the local businesses to come along and let people really know what they do.
Absolutely.
And not just that, to build a community. We want to have more people coming here that can help each other. I don't have all the answers, so if I'm looking around saying maybe there's someone who's great at marketing, maybe there's someone who's really good at people skills, it's getting all these people to work together and saying, right, I know there's not a lot of money for new business owners, so why don't you skill share? Why not come down here and work together and actually share each other's skills? So for example, somebody who comes down as a painter and decorator can say, okay, I could do something for you. If they came to me and I say, okay, I'll do some coaching, help you with your business, move that forward. These kind of things, social media, if someone's good at that and someone isn't, but they've got a skill you're not, why not say to them, well, could you help me with this and I'll help you? I've had one recently with that, was a PT who's spoke to someone who's social media. She's not very good at getting her message out there, but she's brilliant at what she does in fitness. So she does nutrition. She's offered then to help that other person do that if they help the social media.
Yeah.
That's what I'd love to see thriving in this place.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. That is with what you've just explained, is all about building connection, about building the
Yes.
network, because both parties win. It's about, letting that collaboration for each company to be able to build their brand and be able to come together and share ideas. One thing I could take away from, what you've just said just now, even within this building, within ISCO Bright, there are a lot of things that that another organization will want to know more about, that your organization does, or even you as a person knows that somebody else need that information, and there's something out there that you possibly need within this building alone. There's an organization within this building or within South Lanarkshire that need that resources. So being able to build that relationship and build that connection is a win-win for both parties. Would you agree?
Yeah. The problem I find is people seem either trying to take the step forward and do it, or ask. I put posts out about the networking in all the local community Facebook groups, and I don't get any uptake. And we keep saying here, we've got all this facility. Look at today, for example. This is a free co-working day. You can download, it doesn't cost you a thing. You've got cake. There's birthday cake here as well with Phil's birthday. You've got tea, coffee, water, whatever you want. Sit there and work. That's all you need to do. Anybody comes in, you can speak to them, and it's nice to have that communication on a break. But people are not taking us up on it. We would love the people of Lanarkshire to realise you've got a resource list that's here, and it can benefit your business, and it doesn't cost you, and come along and try it out.
Absolutely. That's what ISCO Bright Collective and Move Forward Movement is about. That was all the whole idea, for us to kind of sit down and have this conversation, share it with people in Lanarkshire, share it globally, so that more people can be able to come to EK Collective about their resources, know about your business, know about our organization, and things like that. Thank you, Tony, for that excellent explanation. In terms of marketing, you have talked about marketing a few times. You made the reference to the lady that does the marketing. What marketing or outreach strategies have worked best for growing your business locally? Offering practical ideas or other business that you've tried in terms of outreach.
But the network's definitely been the biggest thing for me, Revitalised Business, because it's got 6 areas of Scotland to cover and online.
Yeah,
so
I know about that.
Get people all coming in here. That's been great. But I think it's just, like I said, something simple for people is just word of mouth. It's social media plus clients. Clients that have referred me to other people. That's a great thing to do. But I think also it's also about, as you said there, people got to get wrong. It's not about competing. It's about collaborating.
Absolutely.
That's the best way to market your business, is to collaborate with other people. I do a lot of that. So I've got side business that do that. And what it gets me a lot with that is that people think you have to compete with everybody because they do the same type of job. But there's 8 billion people on this planet. There's enough people for every single one of us to work with. We don't need to compete with anyone. What we need to do is help each other. Find ways to do it. And that's the best way to market your business, is helping other people, because they help you. And if they do that, they start talking about you. And that market's the best strategy you can get, is word of mouth.
Fantastic. I think you hit the nail in the head there. When you start locally, you deliver excellent services, more people are going to know, the collaboration is going to grow. So just touching back on what I said earlier on, is a win-win situation for everybody, Tony. So in terms of what you do, how has technology or digital media helped or challenge your business, in terms of what you're doing there, mentoring, helping start up, cultivating that relationship with us? But how's technology helped?
See, politely, it's not been my biggest friend. It's only because I'm not great at it. But I've got someone in my corner who is. They help me. But one thing that amazes people is my first client was Alberta, Canada, not even in the UK. Because you can do everything online. And that's because people don't realise the reach you can actually have. Although we want to build something locally here, what we say to people is, it's great getting that started, but you've got the abilities, you've got the technique, and technology is so simple nowadays for people. You don't need a lot. To sit on a Zoom and you can do, what we're doing here is actually an amazing thing. What you're doing is allowing people to have a voice in this area. And that's something for people as well that would be brilliant, is having that somewhere that they can speak and just do it. And I think that's such an important part of all this, is to have something like that gets out there to people.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. Because even now, you can have a remote assistant somewhere, anywhere in the world, that will be able to help you to do the things that you want to do. In terms of what we are doing here with this EK Collective and Move Forward Movement, that collaboration, we just want to create an awareness for each and every organization within Lanarkshire to be able to come together collectively and be able to share their resources and also use their own platform to share the word around Lanarkshire and globally. Who knows where he goes? So that is the reason why we're doing this. Just to kind of give a shout out to EK Collective is a place where you can come and find a safe space where you can walk, that is designated to you. If you want to have a conference room, you can also do that. In terms of my organization, Move Forward Movement, we do mentoring, coaching, self-confidence, just something similar to what you do, other than the self startup. So we're just about to kind of finish now in closing. Thank you, Tony, once again. And the last one, what one mistake you have made in business, and what would you do differently if you could go back? I know it's a kind of interesting question.
There's a lot of things, but very simple one. Said it is, I would not try and do it alone. That was the biggest mistake I made. I said, this is what I learned from other business owners now. I tried to do it for myself. I now have, I call them trusted advisors. They're people who are specialists in aspects of business that I'm not. So you mentioned about tech, and I said, I've got some in my corner. I've got Lady Louisa from the Netherlands, who is a tech specialist. She's a data specialist. I'm not. So if I'm struggling with what to do with data or how to explain it, I go to her to deal with that. I've got someone else who's a market specialist, Mags. I've got someone in East Kilbride. If someone's got problems, a lot of new business owners, the problem's getting paid. Not everybody pays you on time. So there's a great credit going here in East Kilbride as well, Ian McPherson. So there's all these people that I've got run about me that I know that whenever I'm stuck for end, I've got that. When I started, I didn't have that. And I think that's why I learned what I call the business umbilical cord. I was the worst one for that. I treated it like my baby in the business because it was mine. I didn't want anybody else doing it. And then I realised something. If that really was a baby, you have to nurture it and let it grow. That's what you have to do with your business. Grow and nurture that. And the three things that stick out for me to do it, some of you mentioned, but communicate, educate, and collaborate. If you can do all three of them, your business will grow.
Fantastic. That's a very good way of summarizing what you do. I think it's absolutely fantastic. So tell the audience, if they want to reach you, where do they find your resources?
They can always get me through EK Collective. It's a broad place for that. Speak to Fiona here. But also my website is changeyourmindlimited.com. The limited is LTD. LinkedIn, Facebook, they'll find me on there as well.
That's fantastic. Tony, thank you very much for coming to
Move Forward Movement. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So you've heard it from Tony, his organization, and what he does. So there's going to be so much more that we're going to be doing on this platform and trying to grow businesses within South Lanarkshire. And who knows, someone else might be able to kind of use our resources when it's needed. I will encourage you to come to Move Forward Movement and EK Collective podcast to grow your business and share your story with us. Thank you, Tony, once again, and bye for now.
Thank you, Pierre.
You're welcome.